Welcome everybody, this is Cook's War Strategy Gaming with our first episode in the Grand Tactician, the Civil War 1861 through 1865. We are going to do the Spring 1861 campaign. There's a couple things I want to do with this specific campaign. We want to take a look at certain policies and try to retain Kentucky into the Confederate States, and I think the Spring 1861 campaign is our best option to do that. So we're going to play as the CSA. We're going to give a small bonus or medium bonus to the Union side. We are going to go on very hard difficulty, and we're going to uncheck the historic policies, and we're going to select our own policies for this campaign. We're going to do the Kansas, or actually we're going to do the Old Dominion, which gives Virginia votes to secede from the Union and will join the Confederacy. The Confederate capital city is moved from Montgomery to Richmond. Confederate support in Virginia is +10. Virginia's secession and Richmond's close proximity to Washington, D.C. comes as a shock to the Union citizens. Union morale -5. So Old Dominion. We also want to do apostles of this Union. Official support for the pro-slavery fire eaters will increase Southern support in all slave states by +20, but will also increase Northern support in all free states by +10. So since Kentucky is a slave state, my thought process here is by doing apostles of this union, they'll get a +20 support by clicking that. Now that might hurt some of the other western states. We're also going to do Kansas a slave state, organize pro-slavery immigration and cross-border intrusions into the Kansas territory. Southern support in Kansas +25, and it will become a slave state. Southern support in all slave states +5. So this one also should benefit some of the border states that are slave states and be more supportive of the Confederate cause. And remember, folks, this is a game. All right, and then let's get on with it. Let's start the Grand Tactician Civil War Spring 1861 campaign. Alright, so in the campaign you get a lot of your updates or campaign updates are provided through the Grand Herald. And if you look at the left hand column, it gives you kind of things that have happened. So if like policies are enacted, it'll pop up over here. Texas votes 3-1 to secede. So Texas should be already part of the CSA. If we want to take a look at the borders highlighted in red, you can see Texas, Oklahoma territory, Arkansas and Missouri are still part of the Union. The war has not officially started, but we've set our policies in place to help speed up some of the secession movement. We only have 2 armies, really, of about 1,000 men in total. Let's look at the strategic situation, objectives, break Union morale. Objectives will add into this as we progress. Kansas officially joined the Union as a state, 1861. But we've set some policies to help try to persuade her to become a slave state and may possibly secede. Arizona Territory joined Confederacy, New Mexico Territory joins Confederacy, and Indian Territory joins Confederacy. You can look at national morale right now is at 100 each. National support, we have 100 versus 82. Morale of armies are 100 each. Loyal states 23 versus the 15. That should change. So a lot of this stuff is somewhat scripted, but you can't, based off policies, and you can affect some change in the early campaign start. Let's take a quick look at military. We can also we could create an army, and I think I want to focus at a Western heavy campaign and try to defeat the Union in the West. So what we may do in the early game here is create an army in Georgia or Tennessee. So if we want to go into here, we have recruit new army. We can see the recruits that are available. Only volunteers right now. And we can recruit several areas. We can recruit in Georgia or Texas. We're going to start with Georgia, and we're going to assign a new army to Albert Sidney Johnston. Now, something that can help you quickly recruit troops is there's this panel down here, and you can kind of set a template to auto-generate units. So let's say I want my division to be two infantry, 1 cavalry, and 1 artillery. We can go to auto-generate, and it will fill those orders. Now, these aren't units have to recruit first before they are officially part of that army. And the music volume is extremely loud. Alright, so we're currently recruiting the Army of Georgia, which will actually most likely become the Army of Kentucky, or the Army of the West. But this will be the beginning template for this main army under Albert Sidney Johnston. We can also add a new group. Actually, I assigned a division commander, so Buckner Sr. So if you add new group, it'll automatically assign a division commander. And then if we auto-generate units, it'll auto-generate units for that new group. So you can see we have the units being recruited, and it gives you what state they're being recruiting from. So the auto-generate is pulling from the most available units, and it starts with the closest units that that the army is stationed from. So the first group was recruiting from Georgia, but now it's looking outside of Georgia because we are recruiting them only what's available. So it's reaching out to Louisiana and Texas. Now the only drawback I see with this is that you can't change the unit colors. So if I want to add a new unit, let's say from Alabama, I can change the uniforms for that specific unit, which is kind of nice. You can quickly look at what unit, if you wanted to designate certain colors for certain states or something like that. It's kind of a little more polish than functionality, but also when they show up on the battlefield, you can kind of quickly see what state they're from and so on. It gives a nice flavor to the game. So you don't have to use this auto-generate feature, but it's there and available. And it's kind of nice to quickly form units, or you can do them one by one. All right, so we're limited in the amount of troops that we can recruit at the moment. Take a look at finances. You can see that you can auto manage finances, and this is all kind of being done based off these sliders. So tariffs are at 30%, sales tax at 5%, interest rate 0.24. So it's nothing that you're really doing. This is more of a ledger. Now there is a subsidies slider, and you can adjust the sliders that will give you additional bonuses, but it will cost more money. So to gain more policies, it's going to cost you quite a bit actually. Right now it's set at 2 additional policies for $400,000. Right now we're not generating any agriculture, industry, transportation, or trade war, so it's not costing us anything at the moment there. So we're going to leave those alone. We are just going to stay with the 2 additional policies. The policies themselves, so it's kind of like your tech tree basically, and the more policies you have enacted or researching at the same time will affect how long they're finished. So if we have 2 policies being researched, they will take longer. So if we start with industrialization, right now it will only take 25 days, and then if we try to enact government funding, it says 25 days, but it should take longer. We're going to enact industrialization, which should take 25 days to research, and military 1. So industrialization and military 1. You can also set it to auto manage if need be. So if we enacted a 3rd policy, that's where you see the days will take longer to research. So government funding went up to 53.7 days. It'll also affect the current days of the other policies as well. It just shows you what you're producing right now and where. So Brickworks in Indianapolis. Well, this is all Union, so you actually see what the Union is building too. Brickworks in Charlotte, North Carolina. That probably has more to do, well, because we're not at war, so we can see the fog of war hasn't really affected things at the moment. We can see what else is being built. Goods and trade. Then you have the Army ledger here, so you can see our Army of Georgia and Florida State Militia. So you can quickly go to your armies on the field that way. You also have the same for the fleets. No current campaign fleets. And then you also have the map filters as well. So it shows you the current front lines and current areas of slavery, trade, support. Over the course of the spring and summer of 1861, this will change. Let's move on with the campaign. So Jeff Davis is inaugurated president for 6 years. Confederacy seizing U.S. property, state militias mobilizing. Map information settings, you can set the map, I have them all on, but you can set the map information settings right here. Loyalists in Missouri torn, secessionist men mustered, Missouri volunteer militia formed, Governor Jackson preparing a secession. We'll pause this for a second here. Kentucky vows to remain neutral. So she's not officially seceded, but our goal is to increase Confederate support there based on the policies that we already picked at the beginning of the game. Governor McGuffin, a Southern sympathizer though. Secession gaining support. Unionists rallying supporters. Neutrality not realistic if war erupts. So we can take a look at the map filters. Let's see if the support has changed at all. No. So you can see that it's looking more blue here in Tennessee. A little bit more about the map information settings. So you can turn off borders. You can show supply lines. I'm actually going to turn off support here. I think this line is the telegraph line. Yeah. Yep. So you can see where your telegraph lines, and I think that affects how quickly orders go to your armies. And military icons, which would be the zoom in icons. So if turned off, you don't see your army. So I don't know why you would turn that off. Maybe just to see. I think you actually to see cities and stuff. You can turn it off, and I can click on Georgia itself more easily, and you can see the railroad there. You can turn off map icons if you so choose. Right now I have them all on. Command and control. So command and control, Sidney Johnson does not exert any command and control yet. Alright, so but Beauregard, South Carolina State Militia, you can see that we clicked on that unit and you can see the zone of control, and you can turn it off and on. You can toggle it off and on there. Pressing through. Fort Sumter situation deteriorates. PGT Beauregard takes command. The fort garrison low on supplies. The war is about to start. Texas joins the Confederacy. New territories are organized. The maps are updated. Borders have moved, so we can check that out. Support has not changed yet. You can see the Army of Georgia now 4,600 strong. Lincoln inaugurated. 16th president. New cabinet handles the crisis. Buchanan leaves office. Up here you can see the total fielded manpower, 3,400. Virginia's loyalty to Union question. Rumors of increasing support for secession. Further states threatening to leave the Union. Confederate support in Virginia soars. Still not reflected on the map yet. Confederate state army established. Organization pattern after U.S. Army. Davis authorized to call up 100,000 men. Here's the intelligence. You can see there, movement not allowed pre-war. You cannot move your armies around pre-war. When the spring 1861 start, you can kind of build armies, set policies in place to affect, production, and try to steer your country and set it up for where you want it to be. Like we could try to add another policy in place, and that will cost us quite a bit of money. And hopefully we'll drop it back down to 2 policies if we start going into high debt. That just increased the max number of policies. So you can see research speed due to lower state support. It's at 0%, but minus 53% research speed as multiple policies are being researched. So more policies you are researching at the same time will affect how quickly they are researched. Really, if you think about it, adding an additional policy right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's only costing us money because it really just increases the max policies. So we have 2 of 7. We can't, if we try researching all 7 at the same time, that will slow research down to a crawl. You can see that men are being recruited into the Army of Georgia now. And you can see the order of battle, the units will get more solid in color as they fill in the ranks. Confederacy issues bonds. Confederacy today issued 10,000 K bonds on the public debt markets at a current interest rate of 8.97%. The speech delivered in Savannah, Stevens addresses the nation. Cornerstone address, new government foundations laid. So the Confederate government being formed. So our first policy is enacted, Industrialization 1. More support for Union factories. John Erickson monitor design approved mass production of new weapon types. So let's go back to policies. Oh, that was the Union. So the Union goes Industrialization 1. We still have 23 days to enact ours. So they maybe they were only researching one policy. So it might be better to do one policy at a time. You can see there's been some adjustment to national morale. Each at 99. Union support down to 82. We actually have a larger army than the Union at the moment. Not touched the Navy. If we go into military, we can go to fleets. Maybe we can produce a Navy, create a new fleet. So maybe we focus on the Mississippi River. We go Port Mobile. No, let's go to Mississippi. Port Vicksburg. Looks like we're already ships in harbor. We're already building the CSS Virginia and construct a new ship. So here's a list of ships that are already in harbor. You can do like a paddle steamer gunboat or a timber clad. For clads, take a little less or some iron there. You can see there's different raw materials that they will use. Let's try to do a timber-clad gunboat, the CSS Georgia, and so we'll commission her. We have a gunboat being built on the Mississippi. It is March 28th, 1861. You can see the readiness of the ship as it is getting built, but it's still currently disabled. It has not officially started. Supply situation at Fort Sumter critical. Lincoln planning a relief expedition. Sumter's 60 gun prepared for battle. Heavy artillery surrounding the fort. It is now April 9th, 1861. You can see Albert Sidney Johnston, the Army of Georgia, as his troops are ticking up and gaining strength. Beauregard issues ultimatum. Major Anderson refuses to surrender. 4:30 a.m. Fort Johnston opens fire. Fort Sumter bombarded. Fort Sumter surrenders. 3,000 Confederate rounds fired. No casualties from the bombardment. President Lincoln to call militia. Civil War. So Civil War, it has officially started. Further southern states secede. Volunteer floods city halls. Confederate armies on the move. European reluctant to take sides. Union armies on the move. Lincoln unwavering. Union invades the South. Action finally. Southern support waivers. Ooh, Southern support waivers already. Pause this. So actually, national support goes in favor of the Union for 97 to 193. So as you can see, objectives have updated. Break Union morale, capture Washington, D.C., win the first major battle, Union support below 60, capture a Union city, invade the North, win 3 consecutive land battles, and win 3 consecutive naval battles are the objectives right now. The good news is it looks like the border around Kentucky is red. So yes, we have a light red around Kentucky, a light red around Missouri and Oklahoma Indian Territory. So it shows 65% support for the Confederacy. Missouri is 70% support. You can see that I have to hover over the state, but to the right hand corner under the compass, you can see support. this number for support at 70%. But there's no official Kentucky joins the Confederacy. They just are supporting, they just have majority support of the Confederacy right now. You can see our finances have tanked a little bit, although we're still showing a surplus. In 1.1 days, Industrialization 1 will kick in, and so will Military 1. So we'll get to pick a couple new policies. We're producing some artillery. By the graph, you can see the Union production is we outproduce them in bricks and clothing, and we currently field 22,000 men versus their 18,000. We have icons up the top. One Union invasion, almost about 14,600 men in the Department of the West. That's probably St. Louis area. British intervention is at 10% right now. So one policy that we may do next is Diplomacy 1, which will help improve relations with Europe. We can take a look at the front lines right now. Looks like we have some work to do around Western Kentucky. Let's take a look at our Western armies right now under McCulloch. And we also have the army in front of St. Louis. I'm probably going to pull out Price and retreat back towards, we can retreat back towards Rolla, or maybe even towards Warsaw. Actually, we're gonna go back towards Jefferson City. We're gonna use river movement and any rails available. And we're going to add some troops to the Western Army. We're actually going to create a division. We're going to have a second division 2 under, we have Pillow and Frost. Right now we're going to use whatever the AI puts in there as far as, I think they're just working down the list as far as rank goes by assigning the division command. Now if we want to add some troops, let's say from Tennessee maybe, you can see the colors there. Oh, we cannot recruit. For some reason we don't have enough, for some reason we cannot recruit infantry. We can create artillery. I don't know if it's a matter of not enough guns. Choose a state for recruitment and ensure that enough recruits of the chosen recruit type are available. And it does not look like we can recruit anyone right now. Yeah, unfortunately we cannot recruit any infantry brigades at the moment. What we can do is try to consolidate some of our armies. So we have the Western Army and the Missouri State Guard, and they are probably outnumbered by the army in St. Louis. And we have an army of Tennessee. So actually we're going to move, what we'll do is we'll move Johnston north to Nashville. They'll use rail, and we'll use, we have the Army of Tennessee under Zollicoffer, and we will send them to reinforce McCulloch in Arkansas and Price in Missouri. I don't know if that's a wise route. So you can pick river, and you can pick all kinds of different movements, forced to march. You can also select the time to move at, or even retreat. Sea movement if available. So we'll send them to Little Rock. And then let's take a look at our Eastern Theater. So Johnston in the Shenandoah. You have, we are going to change Major General Philip Koch. We will replace his command. Sure, why don't we'll install Robert E. Lee. Let's just do it. Get it out of the way. And there's an army, the Department of Pennsylvania probably, yep. With about 6,000 men in front of us. Army of Northeastern Virginia with 11,000, so. And Magruder is stationed in Richmond, so we need to start pulling in some troops from other parts of the country. If there's any militia units available. We have Florida State Militia. Yeah, let's bring up Beauregard to reinforce us in Virginia. So that'll add another 1,200 men. And let's watch troop movement. Industrialization 1 policy selected, more support for Confederate factories, iron casemates for Confederate ships, mass production of new weapon types, arming of civilian ships made possible. Military 1 policy selected, Confederacy strengthens its military preparation for a blockade. Navy proposes arming civilian ships. Privateering proposed. Let's go back to our policies. Do we toy with the idea of European intervention or focus on our internal policies faster. Maybe, or we can just go straight industrialization. And we are suffering some research penalty due to lower state support. We can also do government funding with economic policies. The nation's credit rating is improved, and new acts for funding the war effort are made available. An improved credit rating means lower interest rates on new loans. Credit rating +2. It would take 26.7 days with that one alone. Let's do government funding, and we're going to focus on government funding only at the moment. And to be honest, we should lower politics down until we get to the point where we have 3 of 5 policies. So once we max out on policies, then we can increase our subsidies for additional policies. You can see we have developed some squadrons that are available. The North Carolina squadron, we're going to send them out on. Oh, we can't issue orders. Let's see how Kell's squadron is doing. One ship, they're still waiting orders, but they are disabled at the moment. To add another ship to Kell's squadron. I think we'll do another timberclad. Baron at destination, Price at destination. But we've broken contact with the Union Army in St. Louis. Religious unrest in the U.S. continues. Factory workers feuding. Animosity between nationalities. Immigrants volunteering to take arms. Catholics willing to serve. 1 blockades. Ananak. Blockade efficiency 32. You can see our front line situation here. So Missouri, we got parts of Missouri and most of Kentucky under control. And support is growing in Kentucky. It went up to 68% already. And up to 73% in Missouri. So I don't know if the longer we hold on to land in those areas, the more support we will get. We're going to deploy a very defensive strategy in Virginia, but an aggressive offensive strategy in the west. We are going to move McCulloch north, and I still want to see, are we able to recruit anyone yet? Unfortunately, we cannot. There's the Department of the West. I don't think they're at full strength yet, but they can. Once they get to full strength, they'll be about 18,000 men. Military 1 policy selected for the Union. More government funding. Navy proposes arming civilian ships. So they basically matched the 2 policies we did. So Price is keeping an eye on the Union Army in St. Louis. How is Zolan? Is Zollikofer hasn't even moved yet. Okay, McCulloch at destination. I think we'll head towards Springfield. All right, Zollikofer refuses to move. Oh, the Union Army is they're starting to move towards Winchester in the Shenandoah Valley. About 7,000 men versus Johnston's 2,400. We have 4,000 under Lee at Manassas. And then Beauregard with his 1,200 men. Plus Magruder. So national support is at 96 apiece. We actually have a little bit more national morale at 94. St. Louis is captured by federal troops. So this will conclude the first episode of Grand Tactician, the Civil War, the Confederate campaign, episode 1 on very hard difficulty. We are also doing a spring 1861 start with the objective of a Western campaign, a Western invasion strategy, and getting Kentucky to join the Confederate States. We've been able to get their support, not their full secession, though. Whether an event fires that they actually will secede, I don't know, but we are gaining their support, and we also have volunteers rising up to the Confederate flag in the Bluegrass State. So, it looks like the next episode we'll see our first battles. So, please, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and you will get updated on the next episode. I appreciate your time. Have a very good day.